Welcome, everyone. I'm Anne-Marie McKenzie, doTERRA wellness advocate, Desire Map mentor, and transformation guide. This is Emotional Rescue, practical tools for emotional intelligence. I'm very grateful that all of you are here. I'm most excited, though, about the essential oils, the essential aromatics kit that all of you have just received, or Antoinette, who's been using it for a while, to dive a little bit deeper into it and learn a little bit more. So yes, this workshop was really created based on this kit, the Essential Aromatics Kit, because as a doTERRA wellness advocate, when I joined and entered into the business, there was very much like, this is how we do it. And I am not someone who likes to be told what to do. And I don't like to do things the same way as everybody else. And as a Desire Map facilitator, someone who coaches and empowers people to deepen their emotional intelligence, I started to realize that that we needed these support tools. And I really leaned heavily on the Essential Aromatics Kit. And then from that, I literally just was like, had this idea one day where I'm like, I can build a whole workshop based on this. And what does that look like? And recognizing that there's this whole spectrum of practical tools and support systems that we can use for our emotional well-being. Some cost money, some don't cost money. My favorite are the ones that cost money, the oils, because I'm a little bit of an essential oil addict, but there's a whole variety of things that we can do to deepen our emotional intelligence, to help us understand how it is that we want to feel, to identify our feelings, to be able to authentically communicate our feelings with other people, which strengthens relationships. And it allows us to show up with more empathy and compassion for ourselves and for other people. Laura Lee and I were talking about it before we got started on this call, just how it's such a trying time right now. There's a lot of death, there's a lot of rebirth. There's this emotional roller coaster that all of us are on. We're being tested in a variety of different ways. I hear people and I hear comments on social media that we're all in this together and we're in the same boat. And even though, I'd like to believe that's true, it's actually not. We're not in the same boat. We are not. What Laura Lee's experiencing is very different than what I'm experiencing right now, and Melina and Antoinette, correct? For some people, this is the most money that they've made in a long time. For a lot of people, this just is not enough in order for them to get by. So those are two totally different boats, right? But the important thing is, no matter what boat we're in, is to realize that we all have these practical tools that we can lean on to help us balance ourselves mentally, emotionally, and to stay in alignment with our heart and our heart's desires and how it is that we want to feel, and to foster these relationships that we have or don't have. Maybe start having a relationship with your feelings, but to start to foster those relationships so that way we're tuned into that frequency of those emotions or feelings that are positive. And when we're tuned into those vibrations, those are the vibrations that we're radiating out into the universe. And whatever it is that we're putting out there is exactly what it is that we're getting back, right? Because like attracts like, especially when it comes to our emotions and feelings. And so we talked about this in the masterclass. I touched on it, how, it's our feelings and our emotions are the language of the universe and they're the language of our soul. But often what we do is we'll stand in the space of, I don't want to feel like this anymore. And we're in this space of anger and we're in this space of frustration, but all the universe or our soul will hear is anger or frustration. And so literally that's what we end up attracting and calling into ourselves, are more opportunities to feel frustrated or angry, when you're like, this is the exact opposite of what it was I wanted to do. And it really is just, again, about deepening the relationship with the emotions, understanding the language of our soul and the language of the universe, and knowing how to tap into that frequency and that vibration, send it out, and know that you are the manifestor and the creator of your own life. And this is how we go about doing it. We choose how it is that we want to feel. This is part of the Desire Map journey. We choose how it is that we want to feel. And then we create nourishing thoughts and intentions to honor and support those feelings. So we make choices to be in alignment with those feelings. And the other beautiful thing that we do in order to feel how we want to feel is we gift those feelings away. So the premise of this workshop is going to focus around 6 feelings and their synonyms and their similar feelings. Peace will be one that we'll tap into today. So that also relates to feeling tranquil, feeling calm, at ease, serene, and equanimous. We'll tap into cheerfulness, which is joy and happiness. We're going to work with passion. Oh, passion. We need passion. Laura Lee works in the nonprofit world. I know who she works for. I know the world she lives in. Melina too. I know you've shifted. You went to school. You're looking for something different, right? Like there's these, we just need passion, right? Like we've just been in these cycles and in these loops, and we worked for these people, and without even realizing it, they've sucked our soul in some way. And we want to come back to ourselves, and we want to find, you know, our purpose in this life. We want to live our life intentionally and do it with so much excitement and, you know, joyously work our asses off again, right? That's why I became a Desire Map facilitator. And that's also why I became a doTERRA wellness advocate, because there were these 2 things that, you know, once I dove into that journey and the process of both of them, I just immediately, it just lit a fire under my butt that I hadn't felt in a really long time. And I was like, the world needs more of this. So we're really going to talk about passion and dive into that as well. We are going to, why am I starting to forget? Forgiveness is going to be the premise of our work. And I have a really powerful meditation that I'll guide us through in terms of forgiveness and learning how to release and let go. We're going to talk about grief. It is one of the biggest emotions that all of us experience. I feel like if they are to start teaching emotional intelligence and emotional resiliency in schools, that grief should be one that we really, really focus on, because think of all the things that we've ever lost in our life. We're always going to be losing things. We're going to be losing identities. We're going to be losing jobs. We're going to be losing people. We'll lose money sometimes. There's so many things that we lose throughout a lifetime, and learning how to work with grief and understanding what grief is all about is so empowering. I know myself, and I'll share my story when we get into that emotion. I know for myself, I did not have a healthy way of dealing with grief for a really long time. I relied on substances that really just stuffed my feelings and blocked my feelings rather than feeling my feelings. And it wasn't until my mom was diagnosed with cancer in 2014 and I helped her transition and pass away that I really created a good relationship with grief. I remember going to the grief counselors in my area and sitting with them over tea. And this was like a month after my mom passed. And I said, I want to join your bereavement support group. And they were like, oh, well, you know, who did you lose? And when did this happen? And I'm like, my mom, like 3.5 weeks ago. And they're like, oh, honey, you can't join our group yet. You have to wait, you know, usually a year. And I said, well, how about you have tea with me? And then we can decide if I can join your group or not, because I was just so ready to move through it, not rush the process, but move through it, because I know the negative impact that our emotions and feelings can have, wreak havoc in our lives if we don't learn how to channel them and actually feel them and allow them to move through us, right? I was just the queen of suppressing and stuffing my emotions. I think all of us can relate to that, right? Peace, cheer, passion, forgive, console. Oh my gosh, I have to look at them. I'm gapping right now. Antoinette, oh, you're motivate.
Hold on. Motivate, yeah.
Yeah.
Passion, you mentioned that one? Passion?
Yeah.
Okay.
And motivation, because we all just need that swift kick in the ass every once in a while to, like I said, start to joyously work our butts off. I swear sometimes. Now you've kind of noticed that now. I hope that's okay. It's just me being me. Antoinette has kids and she's got earphones in, so I know that I'm safe, but I should probably mention that. I should have mentioned that at the beginning for anyone who's listening to the recording. So we'll work with those emotions, but we'll also, it's not necessarily just about the essential oils. We do really want you to use your oils. Antoinette and I, as like doTERRA wellness advocates, that's like, I don't want to say our biggest fear, but the one thing that we really dislike is when our customers purchase something and then they don't use the oils. They're like, well, how do they work? And we're like, use them. Remember, we taught you to use them. You can diffuse it. So pop it in your diffuser. Did your kits come with diffusers? No, it didn't. But do you both have diffusers? Yeah, okay, perfect. So just diffuse them all the time, all the time. If you don't know what smells, just like Russian roulette it. That's what I do. If I have no idea how I want to feel or what to work with, I put one drop of each of them in the diffuser. I call it the hot mess, or trapped in a glass cage of emotion. And so you just get one of everything. And the cool thing is, I used to mix those in roller balls in my Desire Map workshops, and I gift them away. And somebody would say, oh, this smells like bubble gum. And then the next person would say, oh, it's very citrusy. So I feel like these oils, if you're blending them, you will pick up on and you will resonate with what it is that you need to work with at the time. I'm a firm believer that if there's any essential oil that you do not like if you immediately smell it and you're like, oh, it's literally because you need to work with that oil. You are not vibrating at the same frequency as that essential oil. So peace was one of them for me. I did not like it at all. It definitely turned me off. And when I look back, I was not at peace in my life. I was on the brink of leaving my 11-year relationship, which I knew would mean separating my dog and cat and having to share them and sell my apartment and move to another city. I knew it was going to elicit some big changes. And so I was not at peace with any of that. But I worked with it, and now it's one of my favorites. Forgive was another one. Definitely turned my nose up to it. My friend's like, do you have a lot of things that you need to forgive, Anne-Marie? And I'm like, maybe. And so I started working on forgiveness and releasing and letting go. And again, now it's one of my favorites. So lean on them, use them. Even if you're like, I don't know which one to use, just take a wild guess, put it in the diffuser and let it do its magic. You can use those oils topically as well. So blend them with a carrier oil like fractionated coconut oil. I love placing them on my pulse points, over my heart, bottoms of my feet, base of my spine. Sometimes I'll put on my third eye or my crown chakra. These oils, although doTERRA does have some that you can take internally, these ones are not for internal use. They are unique blends, so only topically and only diffusing them, okay? So before I jump into the next section, we're going to talk about conflict and drama tonight, but use your oils. Let's use them. So I'm going to rely on passion and motivate right now because I'm working. So it makes sense for me. So I'm going to put one drop in my hand. And when you put a drop in your hand, I used to do this. I used to put the bottle on my hand and then turn it upside down. But then I realized I was like, so my dirty hands, if they are dirty, are touching the bottles. And then, so now they're all like hyper aware, right, of germs these days. Just put one drop, rub your hands together and just cup it over your face. And inhale and take a nice deep breath in. And if there's ever any extra, then sometimes I just like putting it in my hair. Yeah. Oh, so good. Okay. So I'd like you to introduce yourselves now. I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit. Melina, I'd like you to go first. What would I like you to share with everybody? So, your name, where you live, how you're feeling in this moment, and what you want to get out of emotional rescue. So your name, where you live, how you feel, what you're hoping to gain from emotional rescue.
My name is Molina. I use she, her, hers pronoun.
Mm-hmm.
Live in Vancouver. What I want to get out of emotional rescue is to, I think, strengthen my EI,
Mm-hmm.
and sort of to settle my heart. Definitely at peace is something that I need to work on because I do not like this smell. I think I put 2 drops on and I'm like, oh no. But yeah, I think it's just more to settle my heart so that I can continue to work with people and community and kids as I move forward into my new career.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is something that I've been wanting to do for a very long time, and I think it's just been challenging. And I think it's like the acceptance, I believe, is what I need to help with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how do you feel in this moment?
I've actually feel good today, this
Good.
week. This week has been really good. I know I had troubles a couple weeks ago, and I
Mm-hmm.
think it's the whole pandemic. But I feel great. Yeah, it's interesting how I feel. I feel good.
Good. I'm so grateful that you're here, Melina. Fun fact, Melina and I are collaborating together. So the foundations, Vancouver Community Foundation, all foundations do this across Canada. We have a program called Neighborhood Small Grants. Melina applied for a grant. We got accepted. And so she's utilizing essential oils, and she's hired me to facilitate the essential oil aspect of it. But the premise of it is Melina wants to support youth in the community who feel really alone right now, right? To help them with their own emotions and how they're feeling. And what's super cool, Melina's like really good at baking. So she's integrated the essential oils and cooking together. So all the youth are going to get these little care packages that will include the cooking supplies and the essential oils. And then they'll get education classes from me about the essential oils. And then Melina is going to do the cooking and baking classes with them and integrate these essential oils into the cooking and baking. Like super cool, right? Yeah, so I'm looking forward to that. That's going to be a lot of fun. So thanks. Laura Lee, you're next. Would you like to introduce yourself, where you're from, how you're feeling, and what you'd like to get out of emotional rescue?
Sure. My name is Laura Lee. I live in Carrot Creek, Alberta, which is between Edmonton and Jasper. I just moved here. How am I feeling right now? I am, in this particular moment, feeling really good because I know this is where I need to be. I'm dealing with a lot of grief and loss in pretty much every area of my life. And I am looking at this course as an opportunity to do a major reset and refocus and get a clearer vision of how I reinvent myself in this pandemic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Laura Lee is also a Desire Map facilitator. So it wasn't until we connected, you reached out via the oils, right? And then invited her into Online Social Learning Lab, which is a group that we have to educate people about essential oils. And then Laura Lee decided to sign up for this and purchase the kit. And then truthfully, I creeped her on social media. And then I was like, wait, I do, because you were so familiar and I didn't know why or how, but I knew you were from far away. And so then once I realized that she was all things Desire Map as well, I'm like, oh, she's a Desire Map sister. So welcome. I'm so grateful that you're here on all levels, and I'm looking forward to supporting you through this. Yeah. And last but not least, Antoinette.
Hi, ladies. So nice to hear from you and see you, and nice to hear your stories. They sound great. Yeah, I'm Antoinette, and I'm also a wellness advocate for doTERRA. I'm a mother of 2 young girls, and I linked with Anne-Marie quite some time ago, and we both are 100% into the use of essential oils for our emotions. And we both have ideas of how important it is to incorporate different aspects into helping people, especially move through things emotionally. I've taken lots of trainings as well. And one of the things I learned at a recent training was that sometimes the reason why we carry certain ailments or issues or sicknesses is because we have trauma that is unresolved, we haven't dealt with. So using many different tools, one of them including essential oils, we can focus on using them emotionally, and that's going to lead to helping us deal with other issues that may be causing us problems, whether it be a certain ailment you have, or a certain thought that you have or feeling that you have. And yeah, like myself too. I mean, last year was a difficult year for me emotionally as well. But I'm telling you, a lot of the tools that Anne-Marie is going to be going over in this course are very helpful to move through a lot of grief and a lot of thoughts that maybe can take you down a not so pleasant, journey. So yeah, I mean, it's been for me, we totally agree. I mean, essential oils are so important for giving us the power to move through things and clear things. I really like, I kind of really let my body choose what my body needs. And as Anne-Marie was saying, especially with emotional oils, we'll open a bottle and go, oh, this is not what I need right now, right? Like, no. And then the next day you're like, oh my God, this is exactly what I need right now. So, never feel like, oh my, I have to use Peace, because Peace was one of the first oils I had, and I loved it. I loved it as soon as I got it, because it was exactly what I needed at that time. But, never feel that, oh, I have to use this oil right now. No, you don't. And just do what you, and mix them together. They work really well together for helping your immune system. And that's also going to help your stress levels. So, keeping yourself balanced and focused and all of these wonderful things is so helpful for us. But I'm really excited to be here and, focus on the essential oil aspect of it, and also go through all the other tools that are so amazing for us. Sorry, I have to turn off my phone. I don't know who wants me here.
You're quite popular tonight.
Things that we may be going through. I know somebody really, it's actually my daughter's friend trying to contact her about, these nice messenger things that we have now. I know, right? 6-year-old. What does she need to talk on the phone for?
like go to bed at 7:30.
Go to bed. I know, exactly. So,
well,
anyways, nice meeting everybody.
Thank you for being here, Antoinette. She is just somebody that I met through the doTERRA world. I did a training, actually, Desire Map for business coaching session with her and her doTERRA team. And then we reconnected again at Salt Lake City, what was super cool. And this is a quick little story about the power of choosing how it is that you want to feel and leaning on your practical tools. I went to Salt Lake City, Utah for the doTERRA Wellness Convention that they have every year. And when I was heading down there, I was like, shoot, I'm like, I totally should have connected with Annika which is Antoinette's upline, and her team to say, hey, I'm going to be in Salt Lake City. Where are you guys staying? Can we connect? Totally forgot. And then I was like, oh, I'll try to when I get there. So I arrive and I was exhausted from the travel. And so I decided to just go chill poolside. Everyone's excited. They're all checking out the convention. They're all going to these shops. And I was like, no, you know what? I'm just going to stay at my hotel room. I'm going to hang out by the pool. I'm going to tan. I'm going to have a nap. And I'm going to use my essential oils. So I just chilled out. My roommate comes. She's all like, oh, I met with like 1 million people. I'm like, there's going to be 30,000 people there. That's too much for me. Chill. So I show up very first day, very first morning. I think it's 8:30 in the morning. And my team had saved a bunch of seats. So this is Utah Jazz Stadium, okay? 30,000 people, 25 to 30,000 people. And they saved me a seat and I'm scooting in to sit with my team. And who's in front of me but Antoinette and her entire team. I'm like, oh my God, I manifested this. I'm like, I utilized all my tools. I knew how I wanted to feel. I took care of myself. I practiced self-care, self-love, self-compassion. And I had thought, that I wish I had connected with you guys on the way there, but here you are. So it was like the universe is like, ta-da. And then again, through that, Antoinette and I think we went out for lunch together. We went for a walk together with her and another girl. And then I started talking about emotional rescue. And that's how her and I started collaborating together, because she's very much like me. She doesn't want to do the business the same way that everybody else does. She loves the emotional aspect of essential oils and the healing benefits. And so I said, hey, I might have a program that you're interested in. So she's here to be my assistant, my co-collaborator, my co-facilitator. She's going to focus heavily on the oils in this workshop, but this is also an opportunity for Antoinette to learn. So that way, the bits and pieces that she doesn't know yet, she's learning through this process as well. And then the next phase will be her doing it on her own as her own emotional rescue facilitator, which I'm really excited about. So yourself and Antoinette, because it's not new, but it's new. So if there's anything at any time where you're like, this doesn't make sense, or I don't resonate with this, or can you elaborate further on this, then please give me that feedback and let me know. This is also why I'm offering it at, it's a free program if you buy the kit, and at a much reduced lower rate than any other time, because I like not making it perfect, but I like making sure that that the messages and the lessons are loud and clear to the participants that are in the workshop. So all feedback is appreciated. Okay, let's dive in. So you've got I'm going to pop into my share screen, and hopefully it is the first thing. So if you want to open your workbooks that I just sent you, it'll be in Messenger. Of course, this is what opens and not. I just love that photo. So the front of your book, I have a glossary of terms. I felt really silly doing this because I'm like, doesn't everybody know this? But maybe everybody doesn't know this. So I think it's fairly basic, but just in case, they're in the beginning of the workbook. So if you're ever like, I don't know what Anne-Marie is talking about, you can refer back to that. We're going to be talking about conflama next, which is the conflict and drama triangle, shit that you don't need in your life. Core desired feelings come from the Desire Map Journey, in that book written by bestselling author Danielle Laporte. They are more powerful when we use them as I am statements. We're going to be talking about crystals as well, which are literally just these beautiful little gems and rocks that have frequencies and vibrations as well. So I took a long time researching which crystals resonate with which emotion. So everything is connected to those emotions, to peace, to motivation, to grieving, to all of them. The crystals, the mantras, the mudras, the oils, all of them are related to that and have that same frequency and that same vibration, the crystals as well. doTERRA is the only essential oil company that we use because they are pure, they are potent because of the authenticity and the integrity of the company and of the oils. We're the only company that does, as far as I know, third-party testing. So we have another company that does the majority of our testing. And Antoinette, correct me on this if if my numbers are off, but every batch of oil goes through 52 different tests. And like I said, the majority of them are third-party testing. And we have a website called source2u.com. So on the bottom of your oils, there's a little code, and I can try and show it to you, but I doubt you'll be able to see it. No, but there's a code, there's a number. So you go to source2u.com, you punch in the code, and it will show you all of the scientific testing that it did, which makes no sense to me other than bottom right corner will say 100% pure lemon, if that's what it is that you're looking at. So you really know that you're getting oils that are free from chemicals, free from pesticides, and that they're sourced from around the world where that plant is naturally grown in its own natural environment. So doTERRA, emotions, emotional intelligence, essential oils, you guys got that. Essential oil safety, talked about that a little bit, how to use them. There's possible skin sensitivity, so just be mindful. You want to keep them out of reach of children and pets, but they can be used for children and pets, but just in a different way. We're not going to talk about that here, but if that's something that you're interested in, just reach out to me and I can point you in the right direction of those resources, or we can do a free wellness consultation. Goals with soul are also something that we'll talk about a little bit in this workshop. That's a part of the Desire Map journey. So when you choose how it is that you want to feel, we're creating nourishing thoughts and intentions to honor and support those feelings. The Desire Map is about flipping the switch in terms of goals. As I think all of you know now, right? That we focus on our feelings first. So we go within rather than constantly seeking outside of ourselves. Those things that we're always trying to seek outside of ourselves are actually attached to a feeling. So it's a feeling that we're longing for and that we're seeking, not necessarily that thing outside of ourselves. So we focus on the feelings first within, and we create goals with soul to honor and support those feelings. Mantras, this may be something new to some of you, as a word or a sound that's repeated to aid concentration in meditation. So I know for myself, I was that person that's like, I can't meditate, I can't clear my mind. And it's because I really didn't understand what meditating was. And I just needed a different form of meditation. So I absolutely love mantras and repeating them. And I've shared with you in Emotional Rescue my absolute favorite mantras. Mudras are a seal or a gesture that facilitates the flow of energy in the subtle body. So they help you draw yourself inward. So it's a symbolic gesture that can stimulate different areas of the brain, transmitting an exact goal of channeling the energy and the flow for meditation. So mudras are really powerful when it comes to feeling emotions, channeling emotions, and shifting the vibration quite easily, right? One of those free tools. What's really funny is I added sacred geometry in here, and then I do not talk about sacred geometry at all in the rest of the workbook, which is kind of funny. So I'll skip that, but I just thought I would point that out, and I'm like, you know what? I'm just leaving that in there for now, and then maybe I'll change it later, or maybe I'll add sacred geometry later. Yeah. So we're going to jump into, we've already gone over all of this, into building the heart-mind connection. So through Emotional Rescue, when we connect for our hour together, we're not going to actually be doing the work within this time together, but we'll touch base on it. And then your homework will need to be done for the following session together. So your first bit of homework is building our heart-mind connection. And again, I talked about this in the masterclass, how we have an ego and a spirit, and all feelings and emotions stem from fear and love. And we can choose how it is that we want to feel, but the ego often will show up and tell us the story, right? That keeps us in survival mode, that keeps us safe, but also keeps us in fear mode. And we're more interested in shifting out of fear and into love and into the heart, because the heart has a frequency that is 5,000 times stronger than that of the mind. And we often let the mind or ego be in the driver's seat. And it has its place and it has its purpose. It needs to be in the car with us, but it needs to be in the back seat. It's love that should be driving. It's our heart that should be driving. It's our spirit that should be in the driver's seat. And so we really are in this time where the Earth's frequency is also vibrating higher. It was usually 7.83, and it's been hitting marks around 50, which is a feeling or emotion of apathy. It is also stretched to 170, which is pride. And it is once also resonated at 200, which is courage. And so as the Earth's vibration is increasing, then it is up to us to be increasing our vibration as well. And this is why I was so excited to roll out Emotional Rescue at this time, because I feel like with this pandemic, it's what it really is doing is calling on us to fix the heart-mind connection, right? Corona in Greek means aura, star, halo. So we're really working with up here, right? And then when you think of coronary arteries, the root word corona, so that's relating to the heart. So it really has this like dual meaning of working on strengthening the heart-mind connection. So the first set of questions for your homework reflection is to begin having a conversation with your feelings. So what was it like to talk about your feelings as a child? How would you describe your own disposition? Who is someone who always makes you feel good, and why? How would your family and friends describe you? How would somebody know that you're angry? This was huge for me to identify how someone would know that I'm angry. So I'm a very, I can be a very extroverted person, but there's also times where I'm very introverted. And depending on my level of anger, sometimes I'll just have a burst and I let it out and I'll react, and then I can have a calm conversation about it. But I realize that when I'm really angry, then I just shut down. I completely stonewall. I don't talk. I don't share. And so this one was like very, very important for you to identify, to be able to release and let go and move forward, knowing what anger shows up like for us. And it has its place, but it's also a lower vibration. It's about shifting out of anger and maybe moving it into passion, right? What do you generally complain about on a regular basis? And how does complaining make you feel? How do you feel in this moment? How do you want to feel? And how would you currently rate your emotional intelligence? Now, I did this on purpose. I didn't say on a scale of 1 to 10 or, because it doesn't matter how you rate it. Do it in a way that feels good for you. Okay. So first bit of homework, building the heart-mind connection. Now, what I want to talk to you about is this section, no more conflama in my life. Okay. So it's these pages here. And this is what we're going to focus on. So I'll just leave that on the screen. Okay. Conflict and drama.
Can I pause for a second? I can't see anything. I only see a blank screen with all your tabs.
What do you see, Laura Lee? Oh, I can't hear you. Hold on.
I can't see anything either, actually. I was just gonna
a
write
white
to
screen with all the tabs.
Yeah.
Well, that doesn't help.
I thought it was me. I was like, am I missing something?
There
we go.
Yeah.
Thank you. Sorry about that. Thanks for letting me know, Melina. Like, we just see your Facebook feed and all your personal intricate emails. Okay, so conflict and drama triangle. Man, oh man, I wish somebody taught me this when I was a kid. It doesn't mean that as a teenager that I wouldn't have conflict or drama, but I just wish that the awareness was there, or it was, the seeds were planted back then. So Melina, I'm just going to thank you in advance, because I know you're going to pass this on, and Laura Lee as well, and Antoinette as well. There's this conflict and drama triangle, and whenever we enter into a conflict or a drama, we typically show up as one of three people. So we're looking at the center triangle to begin with, the blue one. The persecutor, so that person that points a finger. You didn't do what you said you were going to do. The victim, woe is me. the rescuer. Sorry, but moms, you are notorious for being a rescuer, coming in, saving the day, fix the problem, get the conflict and drama done, right? Get it out of the way. When we step into conflict and drama and we show up in one of those roles, it doesn't necessarily mean that we stay within that role. We can ping pong, right? And I've witnessed myself do this so many times. Somebody shows up, persecutes me. Then I become the victim, well, woe is me. Then I flip the switch and I persecute them back. Well, I only did this because you did that, right? And then I'm like, oh, I don't want to feel like this anymore. I'm just going to come in and tell them what it is that they want to hear and do what it is that they want to do. I'm going to rescue it. So that way I can just brush it aside and not have this conflict or drama anymore. But we all know what happens, right? This is just stuffing. This is just suppressing the feelings and emotions. So we hold on to them. They get stuck in our emotional energy body. And then when we get triggered again, when a similar situation pops up and it elicits that same feeling, then we can end up having this overreaction where we spew out way too many feelings that may or may not relate to that actual event that's happening. Does that make sense? So in the Buddhism culture, they have something called Shenpa. And Shenpa is that fire in your belly. So when an event happens to you, you get triggered. And that trigger shows up in our gut area as that fire. And sort of like the more angry we get and the more frustrated we get, then Shenpa rises. And so the practice is about being mindful and present in the moment. So taking a deep breath, relaxing our shoulders, asking ourselves, when have I felt like this before? When have I felt like this before? When have I felt like this before? And then recognizing that sometimes that person that you're potentially stepping into a drama and conflict with, they have nothing to do with your feelings or emotions, because from the moment we were born, we start creating memories into our subconscious mind of events that happen to us that we have no control over. And then this feeling that we had, and that gets stored in our memories. And so when we're triggered again, when Shenpa shows up, then that feeling shows up again, even though it might not be an accurate feeling or emotion related to that conflict or drama. Are you with me still? Okay. So what do we do to stop this from happening? So I remember going to my therapist one day and I said, Tara, I don't want to be here. And she said, why? And I said, because I'm actually really good right now. And I feel really good. And coming here means they're going to make me talk about my shit again. It might drum all those feelings and emotions up. And I just want to stay in a good, healthy place. And she said, okay, Anne-Marie, talk to me about what it is that you've been doing to take care of yourself. And I said, oh, okay. I'm like, well, I'm meditating and doing yoga on a regular basis in the morning, and I'm practicing gratitude, and I say my core desired feelings as I am statements, and I'm using my essential oils, and I'm getting outside and connecting with Mother Nature on a regular basis, and I'm journaling and I'm teaching, and I'm hosting Desire Map workshops and she said, so describe to me what it feels like. And I said, well, I feel like I'm surfing. Like I made it on the wave. And then coming to see you, I'm going to like wipe out and then start drowning. And she was like, Anne-Marie, why can't you just like surf off of the wave and go hang out on the beach with your friends and have a campfire? I'm like, well, I guess because I feel like the way that my life has been, and I've experienced like a disproportionate amount of shit has happened to me in my life. And I've had friends comment on this where they're the ones who pointed out, they say, I know this isn't going to make you feel any better, but you've actually had a disproportionate amount of shit compared to other people. Why is that? And I said, well, I'm finally starting to realize that it was just preparing me to become who it was that I was meant to be, which is this light worker, healer, Desire Map mentor, doTERRA wellness advocate, to just be able to show up in the world and teach people how to be emotionally intelligent, how to have these deep, hard conversations, how to stay out of conflict and drama. And so my therapist says to me, welcome to the next triangle. And I was like, what? I'm like, you didn't tell me that there was another triangle to even up level to. And she said, I know you're an A type. You would just want to skip the whole process and get to that. I'm like, yeah, true. So instead of being the persecutor in the conflict and drama triangle, we are aiming for the challenger. So it's okay to have opposition. It's okay to not agree with somebody. It's okay to have a difference of opinion, right? It's okay to question the status quo. I'm really encouraging people to be the challenger right now. We are about to be, the world is about to open up again. Do I agree with it or not? Doesn't matter, but it's going to open up again. And here's my hypothesis. Now we're going to have a big spike. Now we're going to have a lot more cases that are going to happen again. And they're doing this on purpose to keep us in the fear vibration. Okay. So we're going to let everybody go do everything. And we've all been cooped up for like 2 months. And so we're all going to go. And then there's going to be a major surge in COVID cases. And then they're going to close the world down again. And then what they're going to do is say, everybody needs to get vaccinated now. And then if you don't get vaccinated, then you're not going to be allowed to do a bunch of things. So there's going to be all of these things that are going to drum up major emotions for all of us. And I'm not telling you what to do. I'm not saying do this, don't do that. It's your life, your choice. You are the guru and the master of your own life, but I will encourage you to be that challenger. So it's not about persecuting. It's not about pointing the finger and telling other people that they've done something wrong, but it is about challenging them. So for an example, there's a woman who used to be a friend of mine. We're still friends on Facebook or connected on Facebook. She's constantly judging people on Facebook, on social media. Then I see her post a photo. She lives in Squamish, like a small town on the West Coast. And her daughters, they just decided to drive up to Whistler a few weeks ago and walk around the village, which Whistler is also closed. She's like, it was so great to get out of the house and just walk around the village. And it was beautiful because nobody was there. And I was like, oh man, you're just opening yourself up, right? And so all these people commented like, what are you doing? You're supposed to be staying home, right? Persecutors started showing up. So what I said to her was, how would you feel if Vancouver all showed up in Squamish on the weekend? What it feels like to Vancouver when they go to Squamish is very much what you feel like going Squamish to Whistler, right? And that's really what this is about. I'm not saying you shouldn't have went to Whistler. I'm not saying that you shouldn't have strolled through the village with your dog, but it's okay. You're choosing to do this, but how would you feel if the city, the big city, chose to do that in your community? So it wasn't persecuting. It was like, hey, think about it this way, before you make your choice. Challenger. Instead of being the rescuer, and I love this one because I was so a rescuer to the people that cause conflict and drama in my life, you become a collaborator. So you start to realize that it's not your job to fix or mend other people. It's your job to fix yourself and deal with your own shit, but it is not your job to fix or mend other people. But we can be there as somebody who's emotionally intelligent with more empathy and more compassion and help people come to their own conclusions of how they resolve conflicts and dramas and problems within their own life, right? And that can look a variety of different ways. Now, this was the most powerful one for me. Instead of being the victim, you become the creator of your own life. So instead of life is happening to me, now I know that life is happening for me. So I used to reflect back on my life and I was so angry at God and the universe for handing me this disproportionate amount of shit. Why do I have so many traumas compared to everybody else that I know? Why do I have so many losses and deep, big losses, like people that I loved and that loved me? Why? These were all spiritual assignments. These were all opportunities for me to learn and grow and expand. So that way someday I can sit in front of Laura-Lee and Melina and Antoinette and share what it is that I know and come from a place of experience and come from a place of heart. Now, you don't just get to say, well, I don't want to be in that triangle anymore when it comes to conflict and drama, and I'm just going to go into this other triangle. It requires practice and it requires work. And this is when you're going to rely on the practical tools that we're going to be talking about in emotional rescue. we create something called the circle of self. Circle of self is self-love, self-care, and self-compassion. We were taught that selfishness is a bad thing. I'm here to tell you, my friends, that it is not. In fact, it's imperative. It's extremely important, particularly for those of us, women, who show up as caretakers in our family, you know, for the moms, for the social workers, for the youth workers, for those working in nonprofits. You know, now more than ever, we have to be selfish. We have to take care of ourselves first before we can truly have the capacity to take care of another. We have all heard the phrase, you have to fill your own cup first. You cannot give from an empty cup. So the circle of self is simply that. Work on continuously filling up your own cup. And that can look different for so many people. I know part of my circle of self, and now for all of you, essential oils are a huge part of that. When it comes to conflict and drama, I rely on tea tree oil. It is the oil of setting energetic boundaries. And so when I know that I'm going to be around a lot of people, or especially when I know I'm going to be around a lot of negative people, aka when I go home to visit my family in Ontario, I really rely heavily on tea tree oil to set that boundary, to keep my energy safe within myself. Mantras, mudras, meditation, yoga, baths, getting out in nature, all journaling, practicing gratitude. These are all things that strengthen your circle of self and help create a strong foundation to help begin to eliminate conflict and drama in our life. Does anybody have any questions or comments about that before we dive into the essential oils and the feeling of peace?
I guess I have a comment on the triangle. I think because I am a visual learner, I'm a doer learner, and so when I do, I can learn. And when I first saw the triangle, it was very overwhelming.
Okay.
Like lots of, like, I didn't know where it began. I think that's where it was like, how do you read this thing? And I know once you sort of started talking, I had to start putting arrows. I don't know if you can see.
No, it just shows you because you've got the grassy background.
Oh.
No. But you can take a photo. Will you take a photo and send it to me after? Or
Sure.
to me? Okay, cool.
Just so that it helps, I guess, with the arrows. And I don't know if that's how the arrows are supposed to go. So that may be something maybe I might need another refresher on what this triangle really is about. Like, I know that I've heard it once now, but I think that was a lot.
And there is a lot of text within your workbook that will support this as well. And there's a reason why I created it the way that I did. And I went through this a lot because there is no beginning and there is no end. And it's not start here and then end there, because it just depends on where you're at in your emotional journey. Today you're having a good day, but 2 weeks ago you might have showed up as the persecutor, right? Whereas today you're like, I'm the creator of my life and I will choose how it is that I want to feel, right? You're empowered. And so maybe it's because you have been practicing the circle of self, but maybe the next day, you know, somebody in your family shows up, I have a problem, and you start to rescue them and you're like, oh, because I didn't get a good night's sleep and I didn't eat enough nourishing foods for dinner and I haven't drank my water yet and I didn't do my meditations, right? So it doesn't have a beginning and an end. And there is no, okay, now that I'm here and I'm always here. There's times where I've up leveled and I'm the challenger, I'm the creator, I'm the collaborator. And then there's definitely times where I regress and I go back into the persecutor, rescuer, victim. And it just reminds me that I'm like, oh, circle of self. What do I need to do in terms of my circle of self and practicing self-care? But please do send me that. Send me a photo of the arrows, and then if I can make it clear, and read the description as well, and then let me know if there's any other gaps in terms of your learning. So your homework, actually, I want to share this though. I love this by Don Miguel Ruiz. When we are children and we have a problem with someone, we get angry. For whatever reason, that anger pushes the problem away. We get the result that we want. It happens a second time. We react with anger. And now we know if we get angry, we push the problem away. Then we practice and practice until we become masters of anger. In the same way, we become masters of jealousy, masters of sadness, masters of self-reflection. All of our drama and suffering is by practice. We make an agreement until it becomes a whole mastery. The way we think, the way we feel, and the way we act becomes so routine that we no longer need to put our attention on what we are doing. It is just by action-reaction that we behave a certain way. To become masters of love, we have to practice love. Isn't that beautiful? So within your workbook, I've created a little reflection section as well when it comes to conflict and drama. So when in conflict, which role do you normally show up as? The persecutor, victim, or rescuer? And what other patterns or loops do you have in regards to conflict and drama? Who constantly pushes your buttons, triggers you, and engages you in conflict and drama? And how does that make you feel? How does that serve you? When I have Desire Map clients and participants, I've incorporated this into my Desire Map teachings as well. And one of the ripple effects of it is oftentimes I have clients that will come back to me and say, now that I know how it is that I want to feel and I have my goals with soul and I understand the conflict and drama triangle, you asked me that question, who pushes me, who constantly engages me in conflict and drama, and I'm looking to cut them out of my life. How do I do that? And so we're not going to do that in emotional rescue. But when it does come to feeling how it is that you want to feel, sometimes that's what needs to be done. And it came up today in another coaching session with this woman I work with. It was so brilliant. So I gave her homework and she channeled her higher self. And I said, and she was building out the essential qualities of lioness, which is her core desired feeling. And she said at the end of it, she said, sometimes, I want to make sure I quote her properly. Sometimes the pride, because she's a lioness, so pride group, sometimes the pride needs to change its membership in order to thrive. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's so simple and so true. So sometimes we really need to just look at our tribe, our group of people that we're surrounding ourselves with, and ask ourselves, how are they making us feel, right? How is conflict and drama showing up with these people? When in conflict and drama, we've all made mistakes and shown up as versions of ourselves that we can often regret. What mistakes have you made in the past, and how would you like to show up differently? How will you create a strong circle of self that will allow you to level up and become the challenger, collaborator, and creator of your own life? So conflict and drama. Okay. So we're already at 10 after 8. Is everybody okay to keep going just for a little bit longer? Laura Lee, another 10 minutes. Is that okay? Is that okay, Melina? Antoinette, is that okay? Yeah? Okay. The next portion is something for you to read on your own, but this is about taking a village to, we have that phrase, it takes a village to raise a child. It really does take a village to build up our emotional support system. And so there's just a little brief that I put in there, and then some questions as well, like who is your biggest cheerleader, that person you can always count on. What activities do you engage in that make you feel really, really good? What books, teachers, mentors, classes, podcasts have allowed you to discover a higher version of yourself and grow and expand in ways you never thought possible? And who in your community is a light worker, leader, powerhouse, resource of positivity, support, a beacon in a storm? And I put these at the beginning as well, because I find that when we start to do this deep inner work and we ask ourselves these questions that we've never asked ourselves before, it brings us into the darkness. And I want all of you to know that that's normal. that is natural, that in order for the light within us to exist, that we have to experience that darkness. We have to go there and we have to feel those feelings. And so this portion about taking a village is, I want to make sure that you have a support system in place, that if you go into that darkness, that you have people that can help pull you out. Okay. If you don't know this already, I am one of those people. Antoinette is one of those people. Okay. And if you feel like you're lacking in this area, just trust and have fierce faith that as you keep doing this work and as you keep leaning on these practical tools and learning how to sit in the vibration and the frequency of how it is that you want to feel, you will start creating this and manifesting these people in your life, this positive support system. Okay. Okay, here we go. So we're going to talk about the feeling and emotion of peace first. So I'm going to pass this on to Antoinette, and she's going to do a little bit deeper dive with you in terms of the peace emotional oil. And so you can grab that one. Melina, it's your favorite.
Oh, is it your favorite?
No, she doesn't like it at all.
Oh, you don't like it at all? Oh, interesting. How does it make you feel when you smell it?
I feel like, I don't know, I feel sick from it in some way. At first it felt like it smelled like pee, and I'm like, okay, that's not right. And I smell it again, it smells something different. And then I smell it again, it smells something different. And so I'm like, all right, there's definitely something in it that I just didn't.
Can I ask you a question? What are some negative emotions that you're feeling right now? Like, what do you feel? If you had to list negative emotions that you feel, what would they be?
This is the wrong person to ask this question.
No, it's the right person.
And be honest, like anything negative that comes up, what comes up for you?
I guess I don't feel good in my body. Like, I guess I feel defeated in some way.
Mm-hmm.
I guess can't find
Like
the word.
insecure, maybe? Insecure? Like insecure?
A
Not
little
worthy?
bit. Not worthy, maybe. Not not good enough.
Not good enough?
Yeah.
Yeah. How about you, Lauralee? What are some negative emotions that you feel?
Oh, you're muted. Hold on.
Oh, you're muted. You're muted.
The negative emotions I feel generally or in
Yeah.
relation to this oil? Generally,
Not to the oil, just in
right?
general, yeah.
I feel a lot of grief and concern about my health. I was actually at the hospital yesterday because my
sorry.
resting heart rate is out of control,
Oh boy.
106, and it should be about half that.
Mm.
So there's also a little bit of fear about regaining control of my body.
Right. And how does this oil make you feel? When you smell it, did it give you some comfort?
Yes.
It did, yeah.
I actually went to Console first.
Yes, yeah. I would have, yeah.
And
that's the Greek
now
oil, right?
And I've just added the
Peace. They're nice together, those two.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. So peace, peace is a very interesting blend. It was actually one of the first blends that peace and serenity were two that I was very drawn to. It has, I don't know if you know, it has vetiver, lavender, ylang ylang, frankincense, clary sage, marjoram,
Mm.
and spearmint. And they're very comforting oils, right? So anyone who lacks inner peace, for example, it helps people that are spiritually disconnected. Maybe negative emotions like controlling or afraid or attached or unsafe. Like those are the negative emotions that it kind of, can help. And what it does is it gives people more peace, serenity, maybe makes them more spiritually connected, content still. It so it lets you let go of all this control and attachments so that you can just invite yourself to open yourself up to being more spiritual, more open to, I guess, receiving peace in your life. This oil is very helpful for my daughter, who is kind of she's not ADHD, but she does have those tendencies. So focus, and she can control her emotions very easily. This oil really helps kind of ground her and bring her back to her, peaceful self. And I think when you feel empty inside, like maybe it could be grief, but like you've lost something in your life, or you can't control your situation in your life, you feel defeated, this oil is the oil that you can turn to. And it will really, like for me, I actually started using peace, and then I felt better, and then I didn't really use it as much. But I'm telling you, as soon as this epidemic happened and we were told that we couldn't, we had to self-isolate and our whole lives got changed. My kids all of a sudden couldn't go back to school, can't see their friends. Peace actually was one of the oils that I started using on a daily basis to literally calm myself, because I was just so I couldn't even connect to anything at that moment. And it kind of gave me that hug, kind of gave me that warm hug, and was like, it's going to be okay. Like, you're going to get through this. And I started to use it daily, and it's really, for me, and also console. I'll tell you, peace and console have been two that I've really been attracted to lately. But Melina, as I said, it might not be your favorite oil right now, but it might be because your body doesn't need it right now, or your body's totally rejecting it because it really needs it right now. So what I say is, you don't have to love every single oil, but what you can do is you can reap the therapeutic benefits. So if you don't like the smell of something, you can just add it to the bottoms of your feet. So you put a drop under the bottoms of your feet, so your body will therapeutically be reaping the benefits, but you don't necessarily have to smell it on you if it's something that's gonna, be off-putting for you, but you're still, getting the benefits from it. And, Melina, see what goes with it. Peace works really well with cheer, for example, right? Cheer is more citrusy, uplifting. So peace and cheer together, they kind of balance each other out, right? So you can try to smell those two together and say, oh, maybe this is a little bit, or motivate, for example, with peace, right? How does that smell to you?
Very
A little better? Earthy?
But not that great.
Not yet.
It's not great. Don't worry about it. Just under the bottoms of the feet, and then in the bottoms of the feet, and in the diffuser, it might be the ylang ylang. I don't know if you've used ylang ylang before. Some people find it very strong, and that might be the oil that for you is kind of hitting you stronger than the other ones. So what I would suggest is, if you do just diffuse it, just put one drop as opposed to two. That way it's not overpowering. And I would actually, moving forward, add a citrus oil to it. like a citrus bliss or a wild orange or a tangerine. You could even go with something else called Elevation, which is also a blend that's uplifting. It has lots of citrus oils in it. Forgive is more of a herbaceous kind of smell. So that actually could kind of cool, kind of make those tones that are a little bit strong for you, kind of calm them down a little bit. But peace on a therapeutic level, again, very good for focus, ADHD, calming the nerves. Restlessness and irritability. So if you're being like that total like bitch, I hate to say it, but if you're in that mood, this is the oil to grab and to use. Again, if you don't like the smell, put it on the back of your neck. You could put it on your spine, bottoms of the feet. You don't have to put it on you so you smell it directly, but you can get the benefits from it. It also helps people that suffer from worry, fear, and insecurity. So actually, if you feel insecure in your skin or the way you look or whatever, not enough, this is an oil that you should be using. And normally for those kind of emotions, you'd put it over your chest or on the temples to help with fear and insecurity. What else? Sleep issues. I actually was using Peace to help me sleep. So if you're suffering right now from sleep issues due to the pandemic and all the stressful things that are going around, this is a really good one to throw in the diffuser while you sleep. Again, pair it with lavender, a citrus oil. That's going to take away those really strong tones that maybe are too much for you. But this oil is lovely. It's really good for people who have addictive personalities, social anxiety as well. And sometimes these kind of situations can put us a little bit, we're anxious maybe to go out to the store or be around people again because we haven't been for a while. So this is something that can help us break those patterns of being scared, being fearful, and give us a little bit more contentment and just feeling a little bit better about ourselves. So that's what, I don't know if you have anything else to add, Anne-Marie, on that one.
No, that's great. Vetiver root and lavender, because they're the key ingredients. That's why they're really good for calming, peace, tranquility, and just trust and have fierce faith that if you don't resonate with it right now, utilize what Antoinette suggested. Just put it on the bottoms of your feet, or maybe have a bath with it, right? Utilize it in different ways. And just trust that your emotional body's way of integrating with that feeling and that frequency of that peace. It's going to be, we think about our comfort zone, right? Like we all know about the comfort zone. We've done team building where we're like, oh, we're in our safe little bubble. You're stepping outside of your comfort zone. You're stepping outside of your bubble. And anytime we do that and we go into this new territory, it's not going to feel how it is that we want to feel because we've never done it before. So we're not used to it yet. So just, stick with it the best that you can. The crystal that resonates with feeling peace, calm, tranquil is selenite. Isn't that beautiful? Really affordable crystal, a very calm stone. It instills deep peace, excellent for meditation and spiritual work. Oh, you have a selenite heart. Yay. So couple that with, bring that out when you're using that essential oil. Great for spiritual work, anything external from influencing the mind. It pinpoints lessons and issues that are still being worked on. That's probably why if you don't like peace, the smell of peace, it's because it's doing the same thing. It's pinpointing issues that you still need to work on, but does show us that we can resolve them. Okay. This is a very ancient stone, but definitely one of the most powerful crystals and biggest vibrations on earth. Within each feeling, there's a little match the feeling with your definition. And I did this because oftentimes in the desire map workshops, and I don't know, Laura, if you experienced this, but people say, I want to feel this. And I say, okay, have you looked up the definition? And they look it up and they're like, that's not what I meant at all. And so sometimes we actually don't know what it means to feel that particular thing. And our words have vibrations and frequencies as well. So it's very important that we're extremely clear on exactly how it is that we want to feel, to be able to, again, identify and understand how it is that we feel. So I gave a couple examples: tranquil, calm, equanimity. Equanimity was one of the ones that was really hard for me to understand. And when you say, I'm feeling, you don't say, I'm feeling equanimity, I'm feeling equanimous. And so it's just one of those exercises where you just pencil it in, try and match them up, and then contact the Oracle Jujul later and see if you're off or totally correct. Yeah. So your reflection when it comes to peace. So the last bit of your homework that I'll end with tonight, and I'll recap it. When have you felt peace in your life? Do you feel peace within? Why or why not? When do you feel the most at peace? And what are you doing, if anything? Where are you? And who are you with? Who or what blocks you from feeling peace? And how can you incorporate more peace into your life? Now, I've added the last question to each emotion that we're exploring is this little activity that, again, is related to the desire map. And when people choose their core desired feelings, we ask them to build out essential qualities of that core desired feeling. So I want you to think about, if peace were your core desired feeling and it's a character in the play of your life, who would that character be? What would they look like? How would they feel? Smell? Who would they be with? So build out the essential qualities of peace in your life. And you can do this in a creative way. You can write a poem about it. I love it when people create it as a character in their life. So like if peace was literally going to show up as a character in their life, like what would they look like and what would they be doing, thinking, being, having, experiencing? So build that story out. And what that does for us is it starts to create a visualization. That visualization works with the nourishing thoughts and the mind in the mind-heart connection. Okay? So we've gone through a lot, and there's a lot more in the workbook. So you're going to dive into beginning to build that relationship with your feelings. So at the beginning, have a conversation with your feelings. You're going to review the conflict and drama triangle and answer the questions about the type of person that you show up as in terms of conflict and drama, and what sort of choices you're going to make, because now you recognize and realize that you have the freedom to choose differently. And begin building the relationship with that feeling of peace and tranquil and calm and serene and equanimous. And lean on your essential oil, lean on your selenite crystal. I've missed some of the best practical tools. Hold on. I found a mistake I made in my book. So you're going to get another version of the book. What did I say at the beginning, Laura Lee? I'm like, there's been a couple versions. The mantra and the mudra that goes with peace is very simple. You're connecting your fingers together. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4. And so that's the mudra. And the mantra, for each word, you change your fingers. Peace begins with me. Peace begins with me. And so when I worked in a really negative environment, with a lot of negative Nellies. They would come in, "Oh, I have a question," or "I've got a problem." They would always show up with problems, but they would never have solutions to them. And I would literally just take a deep breath, and underneath my desk, I was like, "Oh yeah, really?" But meanwhile, I wanted to say some not so nice things. But that just really gets me connected with feeling at ease and calm and at peace, and reminding myself that peace begins with me. So peace begins with me. So don't save this as a hard copy. I knew this would happen. Thank you for your patience and understanding. If you have any questions, or you get triggered, or you're unclear about something, reach out. You can connect with me Facebook Messenger. If you have my phone number, you can text me. You can send me an email. Just reach out. This isn't like, okay, see you on Thursday. We're not leaving you out to just go into the darkness on your own. We're here for you. So please don't ever feel like that you're alone. And again, if anything doesn't make sense or you need clarity or more direction, then feel free to reach out at any time. Before I say goodbye, are there any questions or comments from any of you? No. Okay. Beautiful.
I guess just thank you, and I'm really excited to dig deeper and learn more. So I appreciate all of your efforts.
You're very welcome, Laura-Lee. I'm so grateful again that you're here, and Melina and Antoinette. And yeah, I just look forward to sharing this with you and exploring it more together. And yeah, to be that support system for you should you need it. Okay. Laura-Lee, don't forget to book your doTERRA wellness consultation, because, and while I have Antoinette here, so that way I don't get it wrong or forget anything. The deal this month, so that as new customers, something that you may not know yet is when you place an order before the 15th of the month, that's 125 PV, so point value. That means you get the free product of the month, but it's only up until the 15th. And so usually the products of the month, my favorite month is when they decide that it's frankincense. I think that's everybody. And we never know what it's going to be until like the first of the month. This month is Citrus Twist, which is not an oil that we have. Sometimes they're like brand new and they're not ones that we sell on a regular basis. So it's Citrus Twist. So you place an order before the 15th and you end up getting this free product of the month. So it's a great way, because I'm sure you guys are thinking and feeling this, right? Like, so Melina doesn't like peace, and she's like, oh gosh, now I know it has vetiver and lavender. So which, like, and ylang ylang, like, which one of those things in there is it that I don't like? So you might not want to buy vetiver because you're like, well, what if I don't like it? So this is a great way for you to test out the oils. But again, now you know, though, if you don't like it, it's because you actually need to work with it. But a great way just to get new oils in your kit for free. So you get those bonuses. And then also, and I think it's because doTERRA is just great with supporting people when they need it, particularly emotionally. If people join the loyalty rewards program, so it just means that you buy on a monthly basis, they're bumping you up automatically to 30% back in rewards. So the loyalty rewards program is very much like having a point system, like when you go shopping at a grocery store, right? So you collect the points and then you go get free groceries. So same. All you have to do is make sure that you're purchasing on a monthly basis. Usually the program is, as you go on through a year, like you start to earn 10%, then you earn 20% back in rewards. And then after a year, you earn 30% back in your reward points. So what doTERRA has done is gifted you 30% right off the hop. That's correct, right, Antoinette? But they have to do it for 3 months. Is that what it is?
So yeah, they've never done this before. So this month, if you put at least 100 PV order under LRP, and you do it 3 months in a row, you will stay at 30% back in points. So what that means is 1 point is similar to dollar value in oils, if that helps you understand what a point means. And it's really cool because if you are interested in building a collection of oils, this is a really great way to get, 30% back on 100 is already $30 plus their shipping back in points. So that can add up for, after 3 months to a really good amount of something. I mean, you can buy your frankincense
Yeah.
and more, right?
Any of the oils that are the higher price points, I get them for free because I use my points. I wanted to try the skincare line, but I was like, it's an investment. And I used to be in a multi-level marketing like skincare company. So I'm very fussy with my skincare stuff. So I was like, I use my points. I love it. Obviously I love the skincare line, good. But it feels way better, especially trying things for the first time using points. It's like, well, I didn't even pay for it. But just also a great way to like just support yourself financially. Like, why pay full price if we don't have to? And like, let's get free stuff because free stuff feels good. So anyways, just wanted to touch base on that. But Laura-Lee.
Yeah, and the emotional oils are a great start. But then also if you just want to add some basics to them as well, I think it's nice too. And then, if you need help too, there are oils, as Anne-Marie mentioned, like tea tree, lemongrass, Siberian fir, frankincense, that are very good at, helping you move through negative energy, for example, and protecting yourself from negative energy. So it's really neat.
Mm-hmm. So we'll dive into that deeper in your wellness consultation, but I mentioned it, Laura-Lee, and I mentioned it, Melina, tonight, because Melina, you're not connecting with me until Monday. So if you're like, I want to order something so I get a free oil, just make sure you reach out to me before the 15th, make sure it's booked before that. And I just wanted to let you know about that 30% that you're going to get back. But again, we'll dive a little bit deeper together one-on-one. Our next session, Thursday, 12 o'clock. See you guys then.
Thanks.
So much love and light. Bye.
Good night.
Night.
Bye.